again, thanks for joining us. It's great to have you along. Your host today would be me. That would be Chet Davis. And delighted to have the opportunity to share with you the specifics of the brand new operating system, which was releasing in North America imminently. So I think we can say that here. So again, that's the only shot you're going to see of me today because the focus is going to be on our beautiful new system that we have available in North America, and that will be the North American Premier, I should say, Premier Preview. I think we could do both of the Bogart 7 for Windows software specifically. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm delighted in particular to be joined by our esteemed guest. I've always wanted to say that, Gary McNally of Macro System Americas. Gary, thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate having you on the line, sir.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, Chet, and hello to all the Cassie users out there. Thanks for joining us.
Definitely, it's an exciting moment. And again, today's focus is on Bogart 7 for Windows specifically. So, Bogart 7 is the software that has been developed for some period of time. And I remember walking and talking with Jörg Sprave, the former CEO of Macro System Germany, um, probably about 5, 6 years ago at NAB in Las Vegas, and him talking about the exciting potential that the company really feels like the next leap, the next natural thing, is to bring the Bogart editing platform, the ease of use, the robust feature set over to the Windows platform to make it readily available not only for existing customers but for future customers. And in the last year, we saw the release of Bogart 6 for Windows, which was the first incarnation. And Bogart 7 for Windows is our feature and our function today. And Gary's been kind enough to allow me to do a lot of work with it in the last couple of months here. I do have I've been using one of the brand new units that are also going to become available. And Gary, are we comfortable to talk dates yet, or is that still something we're waiting for firm announcements?
Yes, I don't know if all the people out there know that we took over about 14 months ago or so, and we use a dealer sales model now. So we have 12 Windows dealers, and I would contact your dealer starting Monday morning. They can hook you up with both the software and the hardware.
Oh, Monday. Excellent. So this
Yep.
coming Monday, you'll be able to connect with your Casablanca dealer and to actually place the order and make the purchase for the Bogart 7 for Windows. This is definitely an exciting moment. So, and we're not going to get too heavy in all the specifics of the hardware. Today's focus is primarily on the software, its abilities, its capabilities. But in summary, Gary, as I understand it, there will be two hardware systems, essentially like a turnkey system for those who appreciated macro systems engineering in the future and wanted to stay with a turnkey system where essentially it's shipped to you and it's all available in one unit. There will be two different options. Is that correct?
Yes. Initially, the Studio and the Studio Pro. It's called the Casablanca 4 Studio, and the Casablanca 4 Studio Pro is the high end.
Excellent.
And we'll
Okay.
offer a trade-in path for all the Bogart systems on the Studio Pro, like we have with the high-end Carrot and high-end 6000 before.
Got it. Okay. Excellent. Thank you. And I've been using the Casablanca. I always mix up the four and the Studio. Let's see. Casablanca, is it 4 Studio Pro? I should look at my screen and just can tell here. But and it's a screamer in terms of performance. It eh, I am more of a Mac user. We'll just put that right out there. So Windows is
Everybody knows that, Chet.
everybody knows that. All right. And some of you will forgive me for that. But
Some won't.
I know. But I've been thrilled with the performance I've gotten on this Casablanca 4 Studio Pro. And I should put it out there. Those of you who have been connected with me for years, when I was with Macro System and even following that, is I am not a dealer at this time, and I've been asked to consider that at various times, I've chosen not to because I feel my autonomy benefits for two reasons. One, it allows me to focus specifically on the thing that I love to do and that I think that I do very well, and I've been given a gift, and that's the gift of teaching. So to help you learn the system. The second thing is it lets me focus objectively on that and be honest and true to you. Every time I'm talking about something, it's not coming from somebody who's going to sell you a piece of hardware or software. It's not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just my focus is just end user focus. And that's 100% what I am. So I can tell you verifiably that I've been using this Casablanca 4 Studio Pro because I'm looking at the logo. I can get it right now, and I've been thrilled with its performance. And we're going to take you through the feature sets today and give you my top 5, etc. But we did have a number of questions submitted by folks. In fact, let me throw up the attendee panel and make sure. Go ahead in the user control panel. Raise your hand if you're hearing us loud and clear. If you're not, you would need to raise the volume on your computer because I don't have the ability to adjust volume here. It's all on your end. Excellent. And you should be seeing a screen. I'm going to put your hands down. Thank you. Raise your hand again if you can see the screen that says Gary McNally Macro System. And excellent. Okay. So Gary is joining us live from the outskirts of Blaine, Washington, if I've got that right. So, and
Yeah, Birch Bay.
there you go. Beautiful spot on the planet. So, all right. So,
Yes, I remember we did a few webinars, or no, seminars up here in Blaine and Seattle,
that's right. That's right.
Oregon,
That's right. Yeah.
California.
The
And
great.
we're going to do that again, I understand.
That's right. Gary and I are in talks to bring back some of the Casablanca seminars and workshops. So we're targeting probably beginning this fall, and I'm excited to partner with Gary on those. That's exciting. So
Yes, can't wait.
introductory comments are that coming this Monday to NTSC North America will be available the Bogart 7 for Windows and the pre-order for the two hardware standalone machines, and all the specifications for the units I assume will be forthcoming this next week.
And a boatload of software add-ons too.
Nice, nice. So let me get a couple quick questions out of the way before we start looking at the system. People have said, well, wait a minute, Chad, I've got the Casablanca S3000, I got the 6000, I got the Carrot, I got the Topaz. Will Bogart 7 be coming for that? And the short answer is yes. Releasing this
Yes,
next week.
the beta testers. Yeah, the beta testers have been testing it for quite a while, and people like to know when, but even the code writers don't know when until they get it right. So
That's right.
that's where that's at. Hopefully this summer.
Nice, nice. And that's the thing we all want to have, and I'm not saying this for Gary's benefit, is we all want to have patience on that. We want to make sure that, the testing goes to the cycle where we'll be happy receiving it when it's released, where they feel like they've addressed any major issues that you don't want to get something before release. So that's, we know companies that do that, and we want to
Yeah.
avoid that. So again, releasing this. So those of you on the 3000, the 6000, etc., this will be an option for you upon its release. But the initial release is the Windows platform model of Bogart 7. We're not going to talk specifically about prices today. That will be available from your reseller, from your dealer this coming Monday. They will have a complete price list with the hardware options, with the OS software. Gary and I were just talking this morning. He's put a number of different bundles and packages together to make it, advantageous for you to consider, and the listing of the add-on software. So not all the add-on software will be available at release. It's a whole different system. We're going over to the Windows platform. Off of VxWorks, when we went to Linux, there was some time needed to kind of retool the software. Same thing now. They're retooling the software. I've been surprised, though, with the number of software options that are looking like they're going to be available at the get-go. So a fairly robust set. And I know some people have their own favorite software add-on that may not be available, but it's my understanding they're really working on retooling and making a huge percentage of those available. Is that accurate, Gary?
Yes, yeah, I think the unit I sent you had about 35 add-on packages. I don't know if the U.S. beta team has cleared all of them yet. We're going to figure that out on Sunday, but the bulk of them will be available for sale on Monday.
Nice. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, sir. And got a couple questions that I think relate directly to this. Is um, Chet, before I really relied on your tutorials, is this something that will become available? And I have to say, I think thanks largely 100% to Gary's partnership here and collaboration, allowing me to experiment and play and learn this unit. I have been able to create a series of tutorials. In fact, it's one of my more comprehensive. I think it's approaching 7 hours of instruction now, and I go through the whole system of Bogart 7. For, and it will be of advantage to those of you who choose to stay with a standalone system. You know, if you're on the S3000, etc., it will apply to you. But there's a lot in there as well that applies to the Bogart for Windows, and including the installation of the software, which, by the way, is a very easy process. And again, this is a Mac guy. I'm pretty tech savvy, you know, I got to put that out there. But as a Mac guy who prefers the Mac environment, I found it very easy to easily download the software, to install. It's an installation wizard. And really, within a matter of a few minutes, I had the Bogart for Windows software up and running. One of the sections of the tutorial that will be available also includes and addresses a couple people who I know asked this in advance is, Chet, will I be able to run this software on my Mac computer, on my Apple computer? And the short answer is yes, indeed. So I've been running it in two different modes on my MacBook Pro 15-inch computer. I've been running it both on what we call Boot Camp and also in a virtualization mode using software called Parallels Desktop. So those are both options available if you have a Mac computer and you wish to stay in the Mac environment. And I walk through the differences. There is a preference set if you're going boot camp versus a virtualization software, something called Parallels Desktop or VMware Fusion. If all this mumbo jumbo is too confusing to you, I walk you through that. And there already is an article for those of you who are members on my website that talks about the distinction between those two. But so even though this is Bogart for Windows, if you're running a Mac computer, this is something you can use on your Apple Mac computer as well. So, and there are articles that deal with the recommended specifications. Long story short, Gary, could you give us just a couple of tips? You know, if you were looking to purchase a system and you wanted to consider the new hardware devices you've got coming out, but also were aware of maybe you were thinking of purchasing a new, or maybe you recently purchased a good Windows computer. What would the small number of things be that you would look for in terms of specifications?
Well, if you're a professional and you use it all day, every day, and time is money, and you have timelines, that kind of thing, you would definitely want the Intel i7 processor with video sync. Most of the i7 processors have it. I don't know of any that don't. So that is key. Combined with the Bogart 7 Gold Edition, it unlocks the video sync feature in that chip and creates what macro systems are calling smart booster technology, and dramatically speeds up your file exports to Blu-rays and to all different other kinds of formats like M2, TS, which is a really good looking picture, and uploads to a lot of video sites very well. So definitely for throughput, you want the i7 with video sync, Intel, and the Gold Edition Bogart.
Nice. And we're going to talk briefly about the gold, silver, bronze momentarily. Um, and you mentioned the ability essentially to increase the performance of the processor related to exporting different file sizes. It's kind of like the company took the render booster and built it into the software. Is that if I was to
Yeah,
oversimplify
that
this.
that is true, and it's faster too, don't you think?
I
You've had
do.
my machine, and I
Yeah.
haven't been able to test it.
All right, I'll have to ship it out Monday morning now that I have no more excuses. But
Well,
yeah,
maybe we'll
it is.
do one more seminar or webinar on that, and you can
There you
ship
go.
it back.
Excellent.
Or,
Yeah,
or
and it
maybe
is.
maybe you might want to keep it there by then.
There you go.
Replace that Mac.
That's right. You're so the other thing that I would point out too is I I would recommend more RAM than less. Different companies call that memory, not storage memory, but application memory. I know I'm running 16 gigabytes of memory on my Mac. I Jorg said, "Oh yeah, I use this EPC with 4 gigs of RAM and everything." But realistically, as you're working day in and day out, and you want the performance, I think that you demand the performance you're hoping for. I would go probably with at least 8 gigs of RAM. Gary, would differing opinion on that?
Well, that's what the Studio Pro comes with, so that would probably be what the software supports at this time. I got a little visibility into the future, and so they'll be writing. I would assume pretty soon the code for um, more RAM support and more processor core support, that kind of stuff.
Got it.
Because when you're editing 4K, Ultra HD, and whatnot, you need all the extra processing speed you can get.
That's right. That's right. Good point. Good point. And one of the things I neglected to mention is my tutorial DVD. And this is not about a sales pitch, but I wanted to answer another person's question. He said that I'm great. I'm glad you have this, Chet, but when will it be available? If the software is available Monday? Well, the good news is Gary has been working with me and kind of front loaded this opportunity to produce this. So the my tutorial will actually be available this coming Monday. So it's in a brand new online class, and it's essentially it's a web portal that allows you to take the lessons and stream them either on your desktop or laptop, or even on a smartphone or your iPad. You could watch the class, and it's kind of built in. You can actually keep track of your progress. It shows you can mark one of the lessons completed, so you know where you are, so you don't have to sit down and watch all 7 hours at once. You can refer back and forth to it. um, and that'll be available initially as an online, and the orders for DVD sets will be available too. And I don't know if we want to say anything more about the availability of that, Gary. We talked about working in a bundle, but we'll release that information on Monday, or
Yeah, I can proud to say I'm happy this worked out. And I'm really proud of the work you did on your most comprehensive work to date, I think. Um, and it will be included in all the Bogart 7 uh, packages.
wow. Now, is that the gold bundle or anything with the gold? Is that right? Or
No, I put it in all bundles, but
wow.
I wouldn't fool around with the low end bundles if you're a professional.
Nice. Well, thank you,
You won't
Gary.
be happy.
I have to tip my hat to Gary to say that, I mean, he was really wanted to make sure that people that bought the Bogart for Windows 7 had the ability to really put it to its full use. And so he wanted to make sure we went back and forth and created, I think, a great optimum package. That so again, to clarify that, if you're buying one of the packages, one of the bundles, it comes with my 7 hours of instruction. It's built in. It's included. That's awesome. Thank you, Gary, for that offer for the customers.
And
Let's.
while we're talking about this, I can't leave out the macro system in Germany. They've been very generous, and they're helping, to sponsor, Chet's video
That's right.
inclusion with the Bogart 7 package.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks for that reminder. Really quickly, I keep saying really quickly. One more thing. This is a website that breaks down what you get in the bronze, silver, gold packages. Now, you may know that you can download the Windows software, and coming Monday, I'm assuming you could download the demo version of the Bogart 7 for Windows. Um,
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Good. I'm glad I didn't misspeak there. The and you have 30 days to try it out in its basic format. It's kind of like way back in the day when we had, there was Avio and there was Avio Pro, and the Pro Pack gave you the kind of things really that an editor needed, audio scrub and more projects and lots of different clipboard and a lot of different functions. In a more expansive way, that's really what the bronze, silver, gold edition are like too. And here's a great website that the good folks at Dalco in the UK have put up, and I know Gary's been having a great collaboration with Michael there as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you this link, and this will be available in the show notes for today. So you'll receive a follow-up email in the next probably 48 hours that will have the link to the recording of today's program and any of the links and resources I talk about. But I just sent you the link, and you can see what the difference is between bronze, silver, and gold. And again, as an end user, I've been using this for a couple months, and there's no way I would go about it without having the gold package. Gary's not paying me a dime to say that. This is just Chet, the end user, talking to you, the end user, and saying, especially if this is any part of your income stream, for goodness sake, you want the gold. And if you spend a serious amount of time with your Casablanca and expect and want good things, you want the gold. The gold edition offers you all the features that you're going to want and you're going to need. Okay. So, and there's a modest differential really between, I would call it a modest difference. If you look how many years you're planning to use this system, 1 year, 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, whatever. Most technology, by the way, if you're wondering in terms of computer technology, whether it's a standalone unit or whatever, industry-wide, we're talking 2 to 3, 4 years max probably for most people is really what people should budget to stay relevant and current. Okay, unless you're high-end cutting edge, then it's 6 months to a year. But for most of us, plan to use this for the next 2 to 3 years. And when you prorate what you're going to spend on this across that, it gives you a better sense of every month, how much am I spending on this? The gold edition, hands down, no question in my mind, I would definitely recommend nothing below the gold edition just because of its feature set. So let me close that down, go to the next slide, and I think we're almost ready to take a peek at. Well, and then the add-on software, again, you'll see the list Monday of what's available for you, what's available to you. So let me fire up the system here. Oh, there, I meant to show this too. So this is the actual course that we're talking about here, the Bogart 7 for Windows instruction. And you can see on the left all the different kind of categories. So I break it down by menus, the edit menu and effects menus, transitions, image processing, audio menus, finish menus, etc. So
and all the Windows dealers have taken this course as well, and so when you have troubles, they'll be able to refer you to the specific chapter that you need to go to.
Excellent. So I'm going to fire up the webcam here, and I am vamping here momentarily while I adjust my screen to. Okay, stand by here. I'm going to leave the mic momentarily. Stand by.
Yes, well, Chet's working. I don't know if people can hear me, but I take this opportunity to say when you download Bogart Windows 7 on Monday or whenever, and it runs for free for 30 days, you'll want to test out your things like your Blu-ray burner and your, if you have a FireWire card, you want to make sure that works. Make sure that the software is talking to those hardware items before you go ahead and buy it.
So you can see I've launched the application, and we're looking directly at the computer output. This is the Casablanca 4 Studio Pro, and this is the queen of the line between the two desktop models that will be available from Macro System. And this has got a lot of power, and I've been using it for a number of weeks now, and I'm really, really pleased with the performance. So it's got the kind of computer specifications that you need to really work on HD video. So the nice thing about this is, well, let me launch it and show you. So you can see after you go through the installation process, which, by the way, I found very easy, as I believe I mentioned earlier, you simply download the file, and then you launch the file, and there actually is an installation wizard, and it walks you through the steps to install the software. And again, this is coming from my vantage point, not as a salesperson, but as an end user and as a teacher. I found it very, very easy to be successful with the installation of the Bogart for Windows 7 software. And one of the things it asks is, would you like an icon, dropped on the desktop? And that's what you have here for easy access. You could come down into the programs, launch this, and then come down here with programs. And oops, I clicked on the wrong button there. Went to the shopping mall, as it were. You could come down here, and where'd she go here? There you go. You see that Bogart is installed over here in the upper right corner as one of the programs, and you launch it. So and the other thing, again, by clicking on the hot link on the desktop, I just click on that, and it opens up the Bogart system. And this is one of the things that I really like about Bogart for Windows 7. Not only does it offer a whole set of new features, which we're going to take a look at a number of them today, but it is what I call, as an educator, transferable skills. If you've been with the Casablanca editing platform for some time, you've developed a familiarity with the system. And it's not just familiarity is an okay thing, because we humans tend not to like change, but being familiar with something and knowing the ins and outs of it and being able to use it efficiently and quickly without spending a lot of time to learn something new. Time is money, frankly, whether you're doing this, for passion, for pleasure, for your church or synagogue, for your family, for a community, or if it's work for hire. The amount of time you invest in learning something different, although sometimes that can be beneficial, also is time that you're not spending actually working on the project. And so by taking what you know already of the Casablanca, you can see that the layout is very familiar. So there are a couple of differences. For example, this HD Backup Sentry is a brand new program, which I'll give you a little tiny taste of near the end of our time together today. But what I wanted to walk you through is just kind of show you the project flow that you're very used to, and also give you what I call Chet's Top 5, because I have my, as I said I was going to do in this webinar, list my 5 top favorite. And let me just, I'm going to verbally give them to you ahead of time. The ability to import photos directly from the import menu, the ability to rotate photos and videos, the brand new project settings that lets us deal with full compatibility with a variety of different video file formats. We can do UHD, we can do 24p, we can do 60p that we haven't been able to do yet. The import adjustments, which I really, really like. And I should say adjustments in display, which I'll explain and demonstrate, and then the easy export option, which I think is phenomenal. These things are things that I've been missing previous to this point. I've been thinking would be delightful to add, and a number of people in the Casablanca community have hoped our system would add, and it's nice that I can now say they have, and they do. So under system settings, there are some variations, and all of this is covered. I go step by step, menu by menu, screen by screen, button by button in my intensive tutorial, foolproof volume. In my new video tutorial, Bogart 7 Intensive, where you can learn all this stuff. But again, today, just kind of a premiere, just kind of a highlight. So let's say we wanted to go to a project, and you're setting up a brand new project. So let's go ahead and launch a new project here. And this is one of my top 5, is the formats available. Not only do we have NTSC at 60 hertz, which we've had, we can actually set up a project in PAL if you've been given some PAL footage. So this is now a multi-standard format. The same software can be used in NTSC and PAL. So if you have footage from a colleague or friend in Europe or Asia, you can actually edit that. And the nice thing is down here, 24 frames per second. We have, for those of you that are shooting in quote film mode, even though now it's really a video camera that shoots 24p. That is an option. You can now do that, which is awesome. We have the SD resolution we've had for some time, the 720 by 480. We have the 3 HD resolutions we've had in the Bogart system for some time, the 1280 by 720, 1440 by 1080, and 1920 by 1080. But here, this is brand new. 2 UHD, otherwise known as ultra high definition formats. Some people call them 2K and 4K. The 3840 by 2160 and the full 4K, what some people call true 4K, is 4096 by 2160. Now your camera has to shoot 4K, and I do need to say these formats are really only workable if you have the Bogart 7 for Windows Gold Edition. The forthcoming Bogart 7 for the standalone machines, for the S3000, the S6000, the Carrot Topaz, etc., you'll be able to ingest or import 4K, but it really won't be a workable format. These aspect ratios won't be here. You'll be able to down-res or down-convert them to work in the regular settings. But if you need to, if you plan to, if you want to edit 4K video, you need to be using the Bogart 7 for Windows version. You want the Gold Edition, and you want to make sure that the computer you're using has the hardware to be able to support that, and something Gary mentioned previously as we were getting into the webinar. But those are awesome. So we have those settings. Coupled with that, the aspect ratio, we've had that for some time too. But and we have been able to edit 30p and 60i for some time. But what's nice, which awesome actually, for those who need it or want it, is now 60p support. Okay, so not 60 fields, but 60 frames. And if that's confusing, I apologize, but there are individuals who wanted to know that information. If you don't know about it, you probably aren't needing it. But if your camera shoots 60p and you've been wanting to edit 60p, we now have the option in Bogart 7. And I should point out, it's kind of under the hood. This came out in Bogart 6, but it's also in 7, of course. And that's the ability to be compatible with Sony's HD video footage that has an audio setting called PCM. So you can now use Sony PCM audio. It's compatible in Bogart 6 and 7, where before, if you were shooting footage on your Sony HD camera and you weren't shooting in Dolby, but you were shooting in PCM audio mode, it was incompatible. It is now compatible in the Casablanca. So there is one of Chet's top 5s. Awesome stuff. Now let me show you how easy it is to import something. So you can see we're set up at 1440 by 1080. Let's go ahead and left click OK, and you can see that the project bin is empty. So I'm going to go over here, and the difference between these two, recording is when you are recording a video source that is a stream, and what I'm talking about primarily is DV and HDV. If your computer has FireWire inputs, which the Studio 4 Pro that I'm using does have, it has dual FireWire inputs actually, and I've been using them, and I show how to do that in my tutorial video. But you can import DV and HDV footage. If you have older analog footage, what you need to use is an analog to digital converter, like the Canopus model that does it converts composite or S-video footage into DV. This little box, I think it's around $90 to $120 US, something like that, and that'll import analog footage into your system for you. That's very nice to know. So that's recording. So recording, again, is a stream if you're playing back video footage. Most all contemporary cameras, however, are what we call file-based video. File-based video, where they record on an SD card or another kind of flash media or digital media on an internal hard drive on the camera. That's what you'd use the import function for right here. So on a compatible camera, you can plug the camera directly in from USB port. I have taken an SD card out. In fact, I've got two sources I can show you. We're going to show you briefly how to import them. So in the upper left, upper right corner, you choose the file, and it opens up the file system. See, this is what's really cool, is with Bogart for Windows, no longer are we tied to, are we limited to, are we relegated to having to use the closed box system that Cassie was. And for a long time, that was a strength. Okay, it was a benefit when the rest of the computer world had not yet caught up to Casablanca in terms of digital video on a computer, on a box. Okay, the rest of the world has caught up, and in some ways has gone past Casablanca's abilities. Well, Bogart for 7 Windows does a lot of catching up and gives us a lot of capabilities that many of us have been wanting or using on another software platform. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to select my, where'd she go? Here. Okay, I've got removable disk right here. Okay, so this is a little micro SD card, and this is footage from a GoPro camera, and I believe this is footage I shot in Costa Rica last summer. See the little, what's really nice is you get a little preview window. See that? Very cool. So, and you might be able to tell this might be, yeah, you can kind of tell, I think. I know that it is upside down, and I'm bringing that in on purpose. This is a particular harness. They call it a chesty, by the way. You can strap the GoPro camera to your chest, and this was a kayak trip I did with my family in the mangrove forest. So we're going to go ahead and open that footage. And now what's nice is take a look at this up here in the upper left corner. We never used to have this, and this is really important. Again, from an end user's perspective, from a teacher's perspective, this really helps us in the system. At the top here, it says project format. That's what the Casablanca is set up in right now. It's an HD format, 1440 by 1080, aspect ratio 16 by 9, 60 fields interlay, 60i. Well, it's saying, okay, wait a minute, Chet. The video file you want to bring in is an HD as well, but it's a different resolution, 1920 by 1080. It is 16 by 9, so the aspect ratio matches, and it is 30p. So the frame rate is different. You can import it, Chet. I just want you to know this information. That's why they give this kind of yellow warning. There's a warning. There's a format mismatch, and I will adapt it for you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Now, normally, I meant to have this hidden. This is what the menu looks like, just kind of plainly. And see the body of water is on the top of the frame, so the world is upside down. Check this out. When we open what we call the expert menu, okay, this is the way the footage looked, right? But take a look at this. Because my footage was captured upside down, and I knew that was going to happen, actually. The GoPro's meant to do that so you can flip it in editing. It's just how the system is set up and how this chesty mounts on your body. You can rotate the video 90 degrees in increments of 90 degrees. 90, you have plus 90 and minus 90 to go, left and right. And then you have 180 degrees. This allows me, before I even get into editing, to correct the footage. Isn't that awesome? I absolutely love that. Then you have these options. If you are bringing in a different aspect ratio, you could adjust it to do pillar boxing. Okay? You could center it or distort it. So that's nice if you want to be able to match different aspect ratios. And then this, you can adjust the frame rate so that I have it set to on so that it will modify my 30p into 60i. And then this is great. For those of you who have been following my webinars and even attended some of my workshops, for years I've talked about using movie mode to get your interlaced video ready for internet display, for internet hosting. Most every internet host, Facebook, Vimeo, YouTube, on and on and on, highly recommends, prefers interlaced or decombed video. You can now do that right here without having to use movie mode. So I can de-interlace it as I'm importing it, which is a huge time saver as well, and make sure my video is going to play well on the website. And you can also denoise, so you can get rid of what we call video noise, and I go into that a little bit more in the tutorial video. So isn't that awesome? So look at all the options we have available to us right in the import menu. So many of these are brand new in Bogart 7 for Windows. And I got to give the developers a gold star next to their name in my little book, in my attendance book here, as an end user, because I really think not only the feedback we have up here, but the options we have available to us, you don't have to use. If you don't want to use this stuff, you just click this check mark and you import the raw footage. But if I want to access these and use these, I just place a check mark there and it opens it up and I can do that. Then I would just click on Start Import. And then it's going to begin importing this video footage into my system. Okay, so you can see how easy that is from an end user standpoint to be able to, get the footage I want to get. Okay, this is, I'm not going to win any Academy Awards for this footage, but this is raw footage, okay? And we all know we'll take a bunch of different footage and we'll incorporate and choose the best parts for a project. And you'll see in a moment here, I did pull out some other nice shots, but I wanted to give you that sense. That's how easy it is in the real world to bring footage into your system. Now, when I go to the edit menu, there's my footage from my GoPro camera, okay? Just going alongside in the mangrove swamps here. That's how easy it is to import stuff. Now let me show you this. And this is also one of my top 5s. So we actually hit 2 of my top 5s. One is the feedback information, and then the variables, the options we have to import footage. A separate one is this rotate. And the other thing I like about this rotate, for those of you who bring in footage from an iPhone camera or from a smartphone camera and the person has it at the wrong orientation, you can correct that now in this rotate. So that's 2. The other one is this right here. I can import photos. Yes, photos right from my Casablanca import menu. I don't have to open up Photo Transfer. I don't have to open up Photo Studio 2. There is a new photo program, by the way, being released soon, and I'll have a separate video on that. But let's say I just wanted to go ahead and import photos here. So let's see if I go back here. Do I have my camera roll? Not that one. Here we have some pics. Now let's click on this. You can see a photo from the farmer's market. Go ahead and open that. So this is a JPEG photo, okay? It does indicate that there is a format mismatch. See that up here? The original photo is 853 by 480, but I can match that, okay? So again, we can match that and have it adjusted. And we start import, and it goes pretty quick, and it's going to drop it in the scene bin. And so that's how easy it is now to import photos into your Casablanca video projects. No messing with Photo Transfer. And by the way, it takes high-res images. So that was an issue before. We couldn't import higher resolution photos. In Bogart 7 for Windows, that is a done deal, my friend. Now, I know some of you used to use Media Manager to bring in photos and a bunch of other things. And take a look at this. Media Manager is missing. But wait a minute. It's not really missing. That's not accurate, Chet. Media Manager, the most important parts, the parts that I would argue most of us use most often, have been incorporated throughout the system. So some of them are sprinkled in the import menu, some are in the edit menu, some are in the export menu. And we're going to see little sprinklings of that. But this is great because I know a lot of Casablanca colleagues had a phobia about Media Manager. They found Media Manager frustrating. They found it confusing. Some people found it locked up and they were unsuccessful with it. That's the beauty of this new development is, again, the software engineers took the components people use most often and requested and sprinkled out throughout the menu, which is really, really, really cool. Okay? So let's jump in the edit menu and let's go into a project that I have a little bit more footage in here. Excellent. So you can see we've got a lot of footage in here. And this is pretty cool. I don't know that I use it that much, but we'll see as time goes on. But some people, this is going to be the cat's meow. Take a look at this. I'm going to go ahead and click on this clip here. It says Maui. And when you're in the higher resolution mode, in the gold edition, and you're in this mode here where you have the multi-line scene bin set up, and that's something you can adjust in system settings. And I show you how to do that in the tutorial. You can drag, I left click on this, and I'm moving it. See that gold bar that's following me around? Watch what happens when I let go. See, it says, okay, see the little plus symbol? When I let go, it's going to move that Maui clip from its current position to this position. How cool is that? Isn't that neat? Then let's say I wanted to have this go on the storyboard. Let's close with this nice floral shot over here. I can left click on it and drag it and actually add it to the storyboard. Yeah, you just saw in a Casablanca, drag and drop. So we can drag and drop scenes in the scene bin, drag and drop scenes from the scene bin to the storyboard, and Then you have the ability, well, there's undo and redo and a bunch of other stuff that I cover in the tutorial that I don't want to spend too much time in today's session. But again, what's nice is so many of you who've been working in Casablanca for years, this is very familiar. Again, there are some additions, there are some changes behind the scenes, but most of it is stuff we can use right now. So we can go into new and create a new black clip, etc. We can go into special and apply filters, okay? We can split, we can trim the clip. All those things are available that we've been using and are familiar, are comfortable with already. So again, that as an educator, we call that transferable skills. So the time you spent learning and perfecting those skills, you can put them to use right away when you launch Bogart 7 for Windows. So again, I find that very, very beneficial. Isn't that cool? So that's those functions there. Let's go ahead and let's remove this guy here so we have kind of a finished piece. And so the just to quickly show you, transition menu is largely the same as we've had in the last couple versions. Image processing, the ability to add filters and masks, etc. to a single scene or the entire storyboard is there. The titler is the one thing that I think people will find is very different perhaps from the previous incarnation, and the layout is different. There are some differences in the capabilities, but I'm going to show you one little trick. Let's go ahead and add title effect to the storyboard, and then left click on enter edit text. Now the first time you get it, it's going to look like this. Kind of close your eyes and I'll show you what it's probably going to look like here if I can do this. I think it's something like that. So a lot of people, when they first launch the titler, it looks something like this. It doesn't say end of our vacation. It says like macro system or Casablanca. And they get freaked out. They're like, what is going on? How do I do this? Okay, so you can click open the virtual keyboard or use your own. Okay, titler. And then we have the ability to select a different font like we've had before. So you're very familiar with that. The ability to import true type fonts, and you can see there's a true type font that I've added there. And the ability to affect its style. So and we've had that for a long time. So the ability to add drop shadows and edges. So all that kind of stuff we've had for a while. The one thing that's confusing to people, or potentially confusing, is this. What we have is we have a title box and you have a background color. Okay? And if you want to get back to the titler you're familiar with, the easiest way is this. You launch the titler, you're going to edit the box. Again, think of this. This is a title box. That's exactly what it is. And we had boxes in the previous versions of the titler. It just didn't automatically come up that way. Left click on edit. Left click on background because it's the background we have, and then just take the alpha, which is a transparency, down to 0. And then you have the titler that you're used to working with. Again, left click on edit, left click on background, and drop the alpha channel, which is a transparency, down to 0. Okay, very easy to do. Okay, you can adjust the position, the size, so I can change the size of the titler window. And then I can left click on position and free position that wherever I want. So the same. And what's nice, see the red dashed line, the red and green dashed line? No, it's not Christmas. Instead, that is the safe titling area. It's nice that it gives us that information. We can add multiple pages. We can import true type fonts. We can import text like we've been able to do. So pretty much all the features and functions we've had previously in the Casablanca titler are here. It's a slightly different layout, but again, I walk you through that in the tutorial video. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and remove that title. Let me see what kind of title we have going on here. Fresh fruit. Okay, maybe we go ahead and render or create that, and you can see it nice and quick creation of a multi-page titler. And we've got a title in here too. Let's see what this titler says. End of our vacation. Okay, let's go ahead and remove that title. So we have a finished piece up here, and we could enable or disable the smart rendering. I choose to have that disabled. That's a personal choice. And okay, so I come back to the edit menu and I click this, and it will render or create my whole project and render the audio as well. Which takes me over here. I should show you this. Audio recording and edit is the same as we have before, and you can see I've got a microphone plugged into my system, so I can do voiceover narration as well as import audio files either from a CD as well as MP3 files from a flash drive or an external device. So I have all that functionality still built in. And then audio mix is going to look largely the same as well. So the audio mix menu, the ability to access all the features and functions we've been learning in the Casablanca editor for some time is still available for us to use in the Bogart 7 for Windows environment. Okay, so let me show you this, and this is one of the things that I like a lot. If I made a scene of the whole storyboard, or maybe it's a single clip. Well, let's go ahead and make a scene. Let's come down here to the very end of my bin here. Let's scroll down to the end, Mr. Davis. Excellent. Come down here. And let's say I want to make a scene of the whole storyboard. Now I'm changing my mind, and there's a reason I am changing my mind. And let me come up here. Perfect. Let's do the sunset on the island of Kauai. Okay, but that doesn't have very much motion, so let's not do that one. So let's come down here. Oh, this is a potentially good one here. Little.
It's disgusting. It's awful. It's a generally unpleasant.
Take the audio out because it's somebody just chatting. Okay, so this is in the middle of Paris. And cut. Yeah. Yes. So let's come down here. I've got a clip that there we go. A little bit of motion in the ocean here. So just a street clip that's got some motion that we can see what's going on. If I wanted to export this clip out, and maybe I want to share this with a client or share this with a colleague I'm working on a project with, or maybe I just wanted to upload this short video to Facebook or Vimeo or YouTube. This is one of my top 5, and this is the export options available in the edit menu. There's export options available in the export menu, which I'll show you momentarily. And there is a difference. This one allows me to export single clips from my scene bin out as a video file. Now, in the last few versions of Bogart, I think Bogart 5 and higher, maybe it started with Bogart 4, there was the export option under the opt button here, but I didn't choose to use it because it didn't give me enough capabilities. I instead chose to use the Media Manager export options. But the developers gave us a whole new set, and I love it. I'm going to export this scene, okay? And so here's the regular setting. I can export it as a JPEG, which I'll show you in a second. But look at the options I have. M2TS, okay? M2 transport stream. MP4, H.264 transport stream, by the way, which most video hosting websites are going to recommend or prefer, the H.264. I could do MPEG-2, I could do AVI file, which is mostly compatible, which is highly compatible with pretty much any other Windows-based application. So if you're importing files for use and you want to bring them into Adobe Premiere Elements or Adobe Premiere Pro, you could bring it out as an AVI file. They will also ingest these other file formats, but you have all these options. This one, by the way, is only available in the Gold Edition of Bogart for Windows 7 and on a device like the Studio 4 Pro or another computer that's got the hardware-enabled ability to provide the faster rendering. It's like Render Booster that's built into the hardware rather than a separate add-on product. But take a look at this. I want to export this video as an H.264, and I can choose the quality, okay? But look, I have more options. I could just export that, okay? And it says, okay, where do you want to export that? Well, let's drop it in the video folder. So this is so cool. Let's drop it in the video folder. Okay, let's select that folder and see how it's exporting that scene. It's now going to be available over in the video folder. But wait, I'm going to do one more thing, then I'm going to show you the follow-up, which is really cool. Okay, now I want to take that scene, but I want to do something a little bit more to it. No, let's take the scene next to it. This is a shot of what's called the Stravinsky Fountain in Paris, France. Really odd, but really cool. And I'm going to go ahead and left-click the Opt button. And we're going to export that scene, but I'm going to turn on the Expert menu. And look at the options I have. I can modify the resolution. If you're working, or maybe you are yourself a web developer, maybe you help clients with websites. If you do, sometimes the web provider has the requirement or the need for a different or smaller resolution video. You have the options right here. You don't have to use some kind of additional software tool. It's built into the Casablanca. Holy bejeebers. Okay, I'm going to keep the resolution as is. The aspect ratio, if it differs, we can pillar boxes or stretch it, which I don't, or we can manually adjust the aspect ratio ourselves. A custom setting. Oh man, I love that. All right. The frames per second, I could adjust the frame rate if I wanted to. See? I love that. I could take it out 60i or 60p. So I have the ability to do these modifications right here. I can do progressive or interlace. And there's a de-interlacer. If I haven't de-interlaced it yet, I could de-interlace it now, and that's what I'm going to do to make it ready, to make it optimum for exporting out and uploading it to my Vimeo channel. Then I'm going to go ahead and left-click Export. Where do you want to export it? Yeah, let's do it in the videos here, and let's do it under Exports. Let's select that folder, and it's exporting the scene. Now, here's something we couldn't do on previous Casablancas. Before, we had to export it out to an external drive or a USB flash drive or burn it to disk, take that over to my computer, plug it in, and import it onto YouTube or Vimeo. But this is why I love Bogart for Windows now. We have the Casablanca system that I'm very comfortable with and I find very efficient. But watch this. I can just hide this or minimize that menu. Bogart's still here. See it down here? Bogart is still available down here, but it's hidden momentarily. I'm going to go ahead and launch my web browser. You can see I'm already logged into Vimeo. Let's choose a video to upload. I'm still on my Bogart for Windows Casablanca. Yeah. So I click on videos. I click on exports. Okay. And here's the Stravinsky Fountain, which I created just a moment ago. I left click on open and upload that. I am now uploading the video you saw me export just a moment ago. How cool is that? That's what I love about Bogart. So not only can I export it to Vimeo, to Facebook, to YouTube, to etc. I could open up Audacity, the audio editing software, take a clip from my Casablanca, drop it in here, do some fine tuning, do some audio sweetening, correct it, adjust for volume, reduce the background noise, export that and bring it back into my Casablanca. I could access my Sonic Fire Pro, my Smart Sound audio soundtrack generating software. I could go to Animoto. I could launch my ProShow Gold, my ProShow Producer, my ProShow Web Tools, and create photo streams and import them into my Casablanca right on the same machine. I can go to the sources I have on the web for royalty-free music, for royalty-free images, photos, for royalty-free videos and graphics, import them into my Bogart editor right on the same device. That's what I think is so powerful and so awesome about having the Casablanca interface in Bogart for Windows. I know many people who have seen this agree that it's just a phenomenal step for the company. Okay, so isn't that cool? That's what I love. But let's go back here to this is kind of a cool clip here. This is shot at the Versailles Palace outside of Paris, and let's say this is a really cool shot. I like it, and I want some photos from this footage. Okay. Now, ideally, let's see if I have. Let me come over to an HD project because the resolution is going to be higher. And we're going to have better quality. There we go. Okay, here's some shots of my wife and my son and I. This is some better clips of the the footage, you know, showing. How's that for a nice POV shot as I held my camera down next to the water line? No, I didn't get it wet, so there we go. Shots of my wife and my son navigating through the mangrove forest, and we got out okay, but it was fun. All right, so let's say I want some photos of that. Well, before you used to have to go and you know go through this little process and you'd extrapolate a photo, but check this out. I absolutely love this tool. This is new in Bogart 7 for Windows. Left click on Option. We're going to export picture to file. Oh, it says, okay, where do you want to do this? Okay, let's click on Pictures. Let's do it in the Picture folder. And let's create a new folder. And let's call this Kayak. Kayak trip. Okay. And let's go ahead and select that folder. Okay, so I could select a single photo, you know, a single scene. Okay, that's a nice scene, and export that, right? So I have a single image when I open up my folder. Go in Pictures, and go in Kayak Trip. And there we have a single image, a nice HD image of my son with my wife in the background on the kayak trip. But wait, there's more. All right, so I'm going to take that same video. Let's untrim it so it's the full clip. Well, that's 27 seconds. That's a lot. Let's take... Let's see, the camera kind of stabilizes right close to that. All right, so let's go back here. And we're going to go back in with that scene selected. Left click on the Option button. We're going to export scene, but we're not exporting a whole scene. Take a look at this. This was the last choice. When you select JPEG up here, it doesn't just do, and we're going to go ahead and lose the menu there because I don't want any other changes. I want to take the raw footage, exporting as a JPEG, but not a single image. Instead, take a look at this. Let's select that Pictures folder again. Kayak Trip. Yep, select that folder and go. You're thinking, what's it doing? It's exporting the scene. But if it's exporting the whole scene as JPEG, is it a single JPEG? Oh no, I'm glad you asked. It's more than that. Let's go ahead and open up the folder, open up Pictures, open up Kayak Trip, and take a look at this folder. What it did is it took that video scene and it exported frame by frame and made JPEG images out of each and every single frame. How cool is that? So it allows me now to go ahead and I can pick through that and select, use a photo viewer, slide viewer, and select the best frame with the best look on his face, and my wife in the background and the paddle not blocking her. In fact, I can come here and just click and, go back and forth and select the frame that suits me best and have that printed or use that as part of a DVD cover or DVD album. So for those of you that do work for hire, bingo, just opened up a new revenue stream for you. Not only can you deliver the videos from the talent show, the video from the school play, the video from the wedding, you can also deliver photos as an add-on product to your end user. And those of us doing work for family, for the community, you also have photos which people are really going to appreciate. So right in the system, we don't have to use an external tool. I absolutely love that. Very, very cool. Okay. Let me pop over here. We did that. So let me show you just a couple last things here. The difference between export and arabesque. Export is if you're exporting it as a video file. Arabesque is if you're exporting it out to disk, out to DVD. Okay. So export is going to look a lot like the menu we saw a moment ago. But instead of affecting a single scene in the scene bin, which we did, we're affecting the entire storyboard. And what's nice is I could choose a portion of the storyboard. So I don't have to take the whole storyboard. Okay. In fact, let's go back to the other project where we were a moment ago, because this is, well, I guess we could do this. Let's say I want the portion of the storyboard that's, there we go, just to the end of our title screen before I get to video black. I love POV shots. And I used to tell my students when I taught video class, I think it's because there are angles we don't, bottle in the water. There are angles that we don't usually see. You know, it's much lower or higher, or I think that's the whole craze of drones now. It's showing us footage that we don't, it's not part of our normal everyday view. So I'm just using the throttle down here on the trim button. There, so I've selected that portion. Excellent. And now I can export that video file using the same features we saw before. So I can export the whole finished video and all the settings. I could bring up the export options under the export menu. And then we have the ability to add a bug. We could put our logo. So if I was, maybe this is a work in progress, and this is a copy I want to get to my client to have their approval before the final payment. I could put a bug on there saying, you know, Chet Davis Productions, so they can't just use it and forget to pay me. Okay. So you have all, it's showing me the effects are rendered and the audio's rendered. That's what that function is there. But again, we have the ability to import graphics. We can put in Casablanca time code. We put the date and time. All those are options. And the nice thing is it'll burn it right to the video file. So I love that. Okay. So that's export. Let's jump in very quickly to Arabesque. I have a complete 2.5 tutorial on Arabesque 6. This is Arabesque 6 if you used Arabesque earlier version. There's a lot of skills that are transferable. The biggest differences, there are a number, is we have 10 different project folders going on. These are independent from the project folders in your projects. I should say there are 10 different Arabesque folders. So I could have 10 different DVDs going on at the same time. You can see I have this Arabesque disk here. Oh, stop. Okay. And I have, well, just 2 different projects going on for kind of playtime here. Oh, I know why the project's not found. But then you have a bunch of different menu templates, full quality, full HD backgrounds. There's motion clips. You have ability to adjust the data rate. There's all kinds of feedback. Again, I'm not going to go through that today. But suffice to say, you have a couple of different options. In Bogart 7 for Windows, what we have is something we didn't have in Bogart 6, and that's the ability to burn the disk right on the internal DVD drive. Okay, and that's built into the 2 systems that Macro System America is selling, the Casablanca Studio and the Studio 4 Pro. And it will, a number of the beta testers, it's my understanding, have used internal systems. If you're plugging in external drives, there is some question about the full operability of that. It is ideal if it's an internal DVD burner, whether it's standard DVD or Blu-ray, that is an option. So you can burn the disc right here like we've done for a long time. Also in the tutorial video, I show you if you don't have an internal DVD or don't have an internal Blu-ray, you can export your finished DVD with all the menu capabilities, the main menu and the chapter menus, as an ISO image. And you may know an ISO image is like a container. It has not only all the video information, but it has the whole interactive chapter menu, everything like all zipped up in a file. You can take that out and burn it on a PC or Mac-based program that will accept that ISO image as essentially the whole structure of a DVD in a suitcase and burn it using something like Roxio or Freeburn or any of the other software out there that burns DVDs from ISO images. Very common in the computer industry. So you do have the ability to burn DVDs. Very, very cool. Let me close it up with 2 things. I have some questions from website members who asked this leading up to the webinar. And that's, Chet, can you just briefly go over the backup options? Yes, I will. So we could use the project backups, okay? And the project backups, this will backup or save. So here we've got this project, okay? I have the ability to save the storyboard. You can see 7 scenes, the whole scene bin with 48 scenes. And audio, I have 3 audio samples in the audio side of my project. This affects this one single project. So it's kind of like storyboard archives we've had in the last few versions of the Casablanca OS. And it backs them up so I could drop them onto an external drive, onto a USB device. You could burn them onto disk, but I've never done that. I found the flash media much more efficient. This does not, however, in the storyboard backup, inserts the extra audio, etc. Okay, so that's the limitation there in the AV data. But this is built into the system. You have this right away. And this was also primarily made so if I did some preliminary editing on my laptop computer using Bogart 7 for Windows, I could export that data and bring it over to my standalone Casablanca, import that, and then do additional work there. Maybe I have more software loaded on my standalone, on my desktop, Casablanca. And I could do all the finessing there. Very, very cool. All right? So that's that method. That's included in your system right now, and I could read that back into the system later on if a way to back up a work in progress, a project in process. Then, by the way, to do that on your standalone Casablanca, it needs to be a Bogart computer. It won't work on Smart Edit, and it needs to be Bogart 6 or higher. To do this here, this save AV data, that has to be Bogart 6 or Bogart 7 on your standalone Casablanca to be able to move data back and forth using this particular technology, the storyboard backup and restore. All right? The other new method, which is the cat's meow, is something folks have been asking for the last number of years, and that's this: HD, otherwise known as hard drive, not high definition, but hard drive backup Sentry. This is an add-on product, and some of the systems Macro System America sells includes this in a bundle. It's worth your consideration. Again, I don't make a dime if you buy extra software from Macro System. I'm just looking at it from the end user standpoint. Tell people what's valuable and tell them what's not, and I'll be honest with you. I will continue to be honest with you. This is a valuable backup tool. This replaces the Bogart HD backup, the hard drive backup we've had. HD backup Sentry. It's like a whole nother level, and here's what's cool about it. When I left click on this, I can back up. Let's save projects. Okay? It says, well, what do you want to do? You got 16 projects on this internal hard drive. Do you want to back up all 16 of them? Now there was never a choice before in the Bogart HD backup. We could just back up all projects on that drive, all or nothing, all projects at once. For some people that was too much because you had to wait a long time. It could take overnight plus to back up all that data. And it was great to have if you had a system crash. But here's what's really nice. I can choose which projects to back up. So I left click OK. And let's say I want to back up this project we were working on just today and then this project, just those two projects. Now when I left click OK, I choose a destination. I choose a destination. So if I have an external device plugged in, I can choose that and I can click save. That is awesome. So now I have the ability to take a work in progress. Maybe it's a project I edit every year for a particular company or corporation. I can back that up and bring it back a year from now and maybe change the photo of the company president. Maybe we have a new company president and she wants her photo and her name in there instead of the previous president who resigned. I can do that and add the title, add the super. So this is really cool. We can choose which project or projects we back up now using the HD Backup Sentry. And this, by the way, will also be available to the Bogart Linux machines, the Bogart standalone machines as the new backup medium. So it does what the previous system did, but it adds the functionality, the ability, the choice to select which project folders you're backing up. You don't have to do all or nothing. How cool is that? So again, in a nutshell, what I love about the new Bogart 7 for Windows as an end user is the company has finally given us the ability to be more compatible with the robust choices of acquisition formats, of all the different camcorder formats. We're finally at a level where we're compatible with the range of HD resolutions, even up to the UHD. And I'm not suggesting you use that necessarily. Okay, a lot of folks don't need that, but for those who want it or their clients are demanding it, I've heard from some of you that's the case. You have that option now in the Casablanca platform. So we have full compatibility. We have the tools that I've showed you today that make my choices as an editor. It gives me the kind of information and the kind of options I like and I need to be successful, to be efficient with my editing tools. It gives me easy export options. I can burn it out to disk with intricate DVD menus, or I can go as a video file with the quality, with the resolution, with the selections I need, that I want, right at my fingertips without going to another device, without going to another application. But taking those nice things in the Casablanca, coupling that with this ability here, this ability to, right on the same device, export and upload to Vimeo, to YouTube, to Facebook, to my website, to Dropbox, to Box, to SkyDrive, on and on and on. The choices to use application software that will enhance my productions, from Animoto to ProShow to Sonic Fire Pro, all those things that we as video producers are incorporating in our workflow every week, if not every day, are available in a single box. That is why I love the incarnation of Bogart 7 for Windows.
All right, let's see if there's any remaining questions.
Chet, do you mind going to our website, showing that? Is that possible?
I would be happy to.
There's a couple things there I wanted to point out.
You got it.
Yeah, I'm just about ready to post the Bogart 7 page Monday morning, but you see in the upper left-hand corner the dealer list. Could you go ahead and click on that?
Yep.
This will only be available from the ones with the yellow W. So they're the ones that have gone through all the training. They're the ones that have the system. They're the ones that are using the system. So they'll be the best experience you can have with the product.
Excellent.
The other ones don't have the systems, don't know the product.
Excellent. Thank you for providing that resource. That's good to know. So this is not to suggest anything about your dealer, but they haven't invested in the system or learning the system at this point in time. So again, the
Definitely, we offered all the software for free almost 11 months ago, and they still haven't partaken.
Okay, so those of you, again, this is an important note. Again, how you get there, go to macrosystem.us, and this is for customers, by the way, in North America. So if you're in, you're tuning in, you're visiting us today, you would contact your regular distributor, of course, to access the appropriate reseller. Maybe it's themselves. But and again, I believe what Gary's saying is, he's not selling the software. You go to your reseller, your local dealer, and if you don't have one, this is the best and easiest way to go there. Go to macrosystem.us, click on the dealer list in the upper left corner, and you'll probably recognize a lot of names in the community right away by looking at the list. And if not, you may do some research, talk to a friend, a colleague who has a trusted, good, solid dealer relationship, and ask them, what it's been like for them. And as long as they have the W marked with yellow, they are prepared to provide you with the Bogart 7 for Windows setup.
And yeah, the Bogart 6 page is up there now. Maybe you can click that there, and it'll be, it'll add all the new features in 7, a lot of which we've talked about, and there at the bottom, it'll just be replaced with all the additional downloads and whatnot, the add-ons, and you'll also be able to find all that software where you used to be able to find it in the download section off the main menu. So all those links, instead of for Bogart 6, will be replaced with Bogart 7 information, and plus will be some pages on the new hardware systems as well, Studio and Studio Pro. So that's it for me.
Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Gary, for taking time to make yourself available to, to not only me but to the entire community. We really appreciate your
anytime, anywhere.
Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude our session today. Again, Bogart 7 for Windows. Again, very clear. Bogart 7 for Windows will have its NTSC North American release this coming Monday, which makes it what, June? Don't have my calendar in front of me.
15th.
June 15th. Thank you. That makes it nice and easy. So June 15th, contact your Casablanca reseller. And the nice thing is, if you're still like, I don't know, I feel like I need to play with it, they've given us that option. Download the free version, knowing that it's not the full gold version. It's the basic edition, but you can kind of play with it and get your hands wet and get a feel for it. And
Yeah, that reminds me. Please do the free trial first, because you'll want to check to make sure your hardware works with the software before you buy it, because after you buy it, it's just really difficult to dial that back. But so try it before you buy it.
There you go. There you go. And don't expect to be able to edit HD video on a computer you bought 8 years ago and spent $300 for. I mean, we know, a lot of us have invested in our Casablanca because you get that performance out of it. Same thing for this. I mean, you don't have to spend $8,000, but no, it should be a contemporary device with reasonable resources if you're expecting it to do really good quality editing. Okay. And for those of you who are website members, I will include the links for all of that. If you're not a member yet, maybe you want to consider it. May be the finest investment you make, especially if you're doing video for hire. I'll just be blunt and say there's a lot of good information that will help you avoid all kinds of trials and tribulations. So I'm not tech support, but a lot of the questions people have are end user, how to do this and how to do that. And I provide 700 articles and tips, let alone all the various video resources. So, and thanks again to Gary and Macro System Germany for making the 7-hour tutorial video on Bogart 7 available to anybody that buys one of the packages. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's call it a day. It is 8:20 a.m. Pacific time, and I hope you go out and make it a great day. I look forward to using Bogart 7 for Windows more and to seeing what everybody can do about it. So we will be having a members webinar this next month, focus on more questions and allow more Q&A as we get into the interface, and expect a lot more tutorials and resources. Lastly, you can expect an email from me, my service here, within 48 hours that will have the link to today's recording and the articles, the websites that Gary and I referred to. Again, thanks for joining me today. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye for now.